If Space Marine had an iceberg, what entries would you put in the iceberg? So I'm not too sure if you guys have ever seen one of these iceberg concepts, but this is basically a ranking system for information in the game. Basically, this is like the information people know about, or maybe these are the community's thoughts about a particular subject or something like that. And then it basically gets further and further down the iceberg based on how many people know about it. So I have a fair amount of clips that I've seen that I've never seen recreated before, and there's also some interesting community notes that I've really wanted to readdress at the top of the iceberg here. So basically, we are going to start with, funny things that we all know about in the game that is basically going to be the top of the iceberg, and then the further we go down, we are going to see information basically be less and less common. So I will show you an example. Point of view, Decimus tweaking out after every squad mate steal his majorous executions. Despite him granting them 30% health back on extremist enemies, he needs the majorous executes to be viable. Alright, so this is a meme based on how everyone sees the Vanguard. This is basically, I feel like this is a meme that is kind of entry level. Like, Vanguard's stealing executions has been kind of a running joke in certain situations, as far as, like, explaining, dude, I ran into this low-level Vanguard. Of course, he's always stealing executions. So I consider this top of the iceberg. This is just an example. I find this to be a funny community note that I think everyone can, in some way, agree with, in a sense. I don't think every Vanguard is stealing executions, of course, but Vanguards do play aggressive, so they naturally built up a reputation. Now, this is definitely something that I consider top of the iceberg. Alright, now, this is obviously a rare occurrence, but I feel like a lot of people know about this one. This is the Lictor in the Battle Barge. I definitely think this is very rare, but again, I don't think this is the most secret. So for me, this is still pretty high up on the iceberg. I definitely put this, a little bit lower than community jokes about certain classes, but it is definitely a little bit higher than some of the other clips I'm going to show you. But yeah, this can definitely happen. This is definitely on the iceberg. It is a rare occurrence. It is kind of a secret, but I feel like a lot of people know about this one. But hey, honestly, it's always cool when this happens. Alright, so we have a clip here with the Neurothrope. We have a player with their Bulwark and Assault. It looks like we have a banner. They're getting close to taking out the Neurothrope, and we see the Bulwark going after the Terminus. The reason why I think this is kind of like middle ground for the iceberg, in case we're keeping track here, I think you're definitely going to see things noticeably get more and more rare, trust me. But if we're keeping track, we're about in the middle, I would say. Maybe even still a little bit above water. But yeah, right here, these are bots destroying the Terminus. I think this is a update recently, but still, that's pretty cool. And then you see them just looking at the Neurothrope, right? So I do think bots can use some more aggressive behaviors. That would be cool. But anyway, most people don't even know bots can be this useful for the most part. And I would like to add onto this, bots can use things like Bonds of Brotherhood, in case you were interested in that. But yeah, sometimes it would be kind of interesting to see if this Bulwark was able to use something like Invigorating Icon. That would be a little bit more fun, I think. So, right here, we have an Assault player going for a jetpack skip, apparently. Dude, I'm not too sure how he was able to pull that off. I just think he was able to line up the... Yeah, you see it right there. Okay, so this is definitely getting deeper into the iceberg. He's lining up his yellow hitbox, his yellow crosshair for the slams. It's right there if you can see my mouse. And he's lining that up for a skip, so definitely keep an eye out for those situations. Not too sure how useful these could be, but anyway, a lot of people think that you can't jump very high with the jetpack, and apparently you can, maybe? Alright, so this is an accidental death in Fall Atreus. This is one of the clips that actually inspired me to make this post, because I feel like I've never seen anyone do this before. And I gotta say, guys, I don't recommend this one. I think this is one of the rarer parts of the iceberg for a reason. It is definitely something players have been either avoiding avoiding or just not willing to test, to be completely honest. Not to mention, you need executions. You definitely need executions in a specific spot to pull this off. Guys, seriously, do not do this unless you're playing with friends and you want to bug them, I guess, or just a little bit of a prank, we will say. But yeah, nah, this is definitely lower on the iceberg, I have to say. This I've never seen this before. I definitely don't think you guys should recreate this, but I can see where this could also be a little bit harder to recreate because you need Chaos Spawn to be at a particular spot, or Chaos Rubric Marines, obviously, but yeah, regardless. You need an execution to be directly in front of the generator. I mean, you can definitely pull it off, but I'm just saying, this is lower down on the iceberg because people likely aren't willing to pull this one off. Alright, this is the most rare clip I have ever seen in the game. This is likely the most rare thing I've ever seen in the game in general as far as information. And if you haven't seen what happened there, that is the Biotitan going down. And apparently, at least the theory here, is the guardsmen are taking out this Biotitan. If you guys haven't seen before, the Biotitan used to be able to go down because we were able to shoot at it when it was appearing. Now, as you can see on this clip, the Biotitan is definitely way past the part where it like walks over the bridge. So this is definitely an interesting circumstance. I will definitely go into the comments to see if anyone can confirm this, and then we will also go into the iceberg to see if there's anything even more rare that we missed. But guys, this is the clip I've never seen recreated, and the funniest thing about this is nothing even happens in this clip besides guardsmen shooting the Biotitan in the background, and it just dies, which is honestly pretty hilarious. It must be something similar to the bug that made the Trigon in Exfiltration attack the Cadians when he burrowed rather than come back to aggro you. Here, Cadians must be able to aggro and damage the Biotitan in a similar way. Dude, no, honestly, that is a very fair point. I feel like maybe the Biotitan, is it possible for it to like fall off the map? Because they were like halfway through the bridge. So if it was the guardsmen, I'm not too sure how much damage they do, you know? So maybe the Biotitan kind of just got re-aggroed to guardsmen, but I can't, the Biotitan doesn't really aggro, right? It just walks and then shoots at, you know, the objectives. That's kind of an interesting theory for sure, dude. But yeah, this is, you can see in the comments on this one, nobody has ever seen, like they have never seen this happen before, which is pretty interesting. So definitely let me know in the comments if you've seen this one happen before, because I think this is at the bottom of the iceberg. This has to be one of the most rare occurrences in the game. I would put Space Marine 1 on it, but not in the highest row because a surprising amount of people have never heard of it and have no idea what it's about. All right, that is a fair way to approach this, I think. But yeah, maybe there's something in Space Marine 1 that has carried over in like the background lore that, you know, people don't know about. But okay, that's definitely high up on the iceberg. Everyone knows about Space Marine 1, I would hope. Some quotes of decapitation, because we all played this op so much, we can hear Astartes in our sleep. Oh, okay, so I think they have a tier list of their own here. I see so they're ranking their knowledge right now, I think. Loading screen simulator, because there's so much of it. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of loading screens. I feel like I would put that above Astartes because I feel like it would run into a lot of loading screens before, you know, even finish decapitation for the first time. Victor the Lictor for that annoying stratagem that spawns an unkillable Lictor with boss HP. Is it really boss HP? Do we know how much HP it actually has? But okay, yeah, fair. Victor the Lictor. The Hunter. I like call him the Hunter. I'd give him the nickname the Hunter, but his real name is Victor. I understand that. Block versus fencing? Oh yeah, the endless debate, which one is better, and balance being ignored. No, okay, so that was, yeah, that was obviously before the balance patch, I think. I mean, honestly, the debate still happened after the balance patch, but now balance was included in the debate after the patch where it kind of buffed everything in a sense. The Gaunt you can pet after you did some obscure stuff. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's definitely lower on the iceberg. We've definitely covered this before, by the way, but we never really knew how you did it. But apparently it's like some sort of like special sequence. Hey, maybe one day we'll pull that off. that's enough for now because I would probably spend hours of coming up with suggestions otherwise. P.S. F. Leandros title says everything. Okay. Yeah, Leandros, people not liking Leandros, I feel like would be up there. But yeah, dude, the guardsman and decapitation. Loading screen simulator, I don't really know if we need to include that. I feel like that's not really hidden knowledge, right? Victor the Lictor, yes, the hunter's name is apparently Victor. A lot of people have other names for it as well. But yeah, naming the hunter, regardless, is definitely on the iceberg. The block versus fencing debates, yes. The gaunt you can pet, I would debatably even put that. Yeah, that's the lowest one. Yeah, I was about to say that should be the lowest one, right? But yeah, okay, this was a good list for sure, dude. I think this pretty much covers everything besides like the Spore Mine Apocalypse, right? As far as I know, these are pretty much the most rare things in the game, the most rare occurrences, the most rare maybe community jokes, or at the very least, jokes you kind of have to understand, you know, what is it? You have to be in on the joke. It's kind of like an inside community joke, so it's definitely, yeah, higher up on the iceberg, but it's a part of the iceberg. That makes sense. That makes sense. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you guys have any other iceberg additions you want to put there. Anything that you have, you know, came across recently, maybe a clip or, well, not a clip, but yeah, something that has happened that's super rare. I really don't know if anyone has a clip that's more rare than Guardsman taking down the Bio Titan. Like, that's kind of insane, dude. That's wild. But okay, yeah, let me know in the comments how you guys feel about this, and thanks for watching.